Good afternoon. My name is Dawn Bitz, and I'm the president of Lazzaro Medical. So before we get started at Lazzaro Medical, I want to pause. Everyone in this room is doing something essentially in unison, and you're not even thinking about it. We're all breathing, and we're not thinking about it. But for 40 million people in the United States alone, they can't breathe. And every breath they take is important, it's vital, and they don't take something for granted that we take for granted every single day. However, about 20% of those patients actually have a disease that we say is one of the most common diseases that you likely have never heard of. And that disease is called Tracheobronchomalacia, or TBM for short. And what happens with TBM is that as we age, genetic factors, of course, as well, smoking, obesity, corticosteroids, and other inflammatory issues actually cause the cartilage in our trachea to decompose or to change its structure. Those tracheas become very flaccid. They become flattened, as you can see in the image here. Likely, COVID is going to have an effect on this as well in the future. And about 8 million people alone have tracheobronchomalacia, with about 4 million of those patients actually having a severe enough form to warrant surgery. However, the challenge up until this point is that the surgery was horrific. The surgeon would literally have to cut you from stem to stern, open up your ribs to be able to access the back of your trachea. Now, unfortunately, many of those patients couldn't survive or even be eligible for that surgery until Lazzaro Medical came along. We have pioneered and developed, and we are the innovators of an entire breadth of solutions for tracheobronchomalacia. The first step was actually to pioneer a minimally invasive robotic procedure to treat TBM. That was actually pioneered by our co-founder, Dr. Richard Lazzaro, one of the world leaders in robotics, particularly in the thoracic space. Now, interestingly about this procedure specifically is that this is solely a surgical intervention. No pharmaceuticals can actually treat tracheobronchomalacia because it is fundamentally a structural mechanical issue with your trachea. And because it is so critical and so delicate, really only a robotic procedure can actually achieve this. And we have actually pioneered that first minimally invasive robotic procedure. In addition to that, we actually developed the protocol through Dr. Lazzaro to diagnose this disease through a dynamic CT. But we didn't stop there. We actually went on to design a scaffold system that actually goes on the back of your trachea to reinforce your trachea. Now, that's our first product to entry. I'll tell you a little bit more about it very shortly. Additionally, we're in the process of developing with a strategic partner in our future an entire training academy to drive an understanding of the disease, as well as to train the physicians and the surgeons how to actually treat this disease. And through our Series A, our upcoming Series A, that'll actually continue to start the engine on our entire platform, where we'll actually continue to develop our diagnostic tool, as well as a double lumen endotracheal tube with optics. Now, we filed patents, of course, on all of our product portfolios. We'll talk about the specifics on the LM scaffold, but before I move on, we've actually just recently filed 6 patents on our diagnostic scope in preparation to go forward with our Series A. Now, I don't want you to hear from me. I want you to hear from patients. And actually, I'm going to read you something. So this is from one of our patients. Not one of our patients, but this is from a very active social media group of patients who are seeking treatment for TBM, and this came in physically this morning. Hi, everyone. I am so new to this, and I feel really lost. I just found out that I have tracheobronchomalacia. She goes on to say, this feels like it's been an uphill battle figuring out what's going on with me. Now that I have a diagnosis, I have no idea where to go from here. I'm sad. I'm angry for the life I'm leaving behind, but also at the same time, I'm hopeful because she has a diagnosis. This is actually one of Dr. Lazzaro's patients. For 2 years prior to her receiving our surgery, she was on a mechanical ventilator. Tim talked about the need and the challenges that occur with patients on mechanical ventilation. She experienced that. 2 weeks post-surgery, this was her. We gave back her life. How was that for lungs? How was that for airflow? Over Christmas, she sent us video of her singing in church. We have so many stories of patients who have actually had this procedure who are now taking back their life. We're entering the market with our very first product here within the next roughly 9 months. It's our LM scaffold system, as you can see basically demonstrated here. That scaffold goes on the outside of the trachea and the bronchioles to help reconstruct those vital organs. FDA 510(k) submission is targeted for this summer with commercialization early 2024. I talked about the fact that we have an issued patent on this. We have a pending patent. We have an entire offensive and defensive patent strategy as well. And the great thing is that this product is actually, there are existing DRGs for reimbursement, and this product is estimated to reduce 50% of the operating room time, taking a very, very lucrative DRG for a hospital and making it even more lucrative. And our seed round includes some key strategics in the robotics as well as in the hospital space. We have a very experienced management team, as you can see here. A couple of them are joining me here in the room if you'd like to speak to them further, including our CTO, which has a history of optics and photonics and AI, really the one driving a lot of our technological advancements for our diagnostic and our double lumen tube. When we talk about what Lazzaro Medical is bringing to the table, number one, we're bringing to the table an entirely untapped market worth about $40 billion in the US alone, treating a disease that affects many, many people, including probably many that you know in your day-to-day lives. Patients that have chronic cough that just won't go away, that have COPD that is refractory to the pharmaceutical interventions. It's just not going away. There's a high likelihood that those patients actually are suffering from tracheobronchomalacia. We're bringing an entire comprehensive suite of products through our platform, opening up a market that is pure white space, not only for our investors, our business, our patients, our hospitals, and our physicians. This is a surgery that can only be done essentially robotically in a very lucrative way. We have a 510(k) path to approval on our first product with line of sight and a completed sub-Q with the FDA in a very positive way. And by the way, the FDA has identified TBM as a disease that needs treatment. So we feel like we've got some good, strong tailwinds. It's patented. And again, existing DRGs that are covering this procedure today with a technology that we're bringing to the table to increase that profitability by reducing surgical time by 50%. I invite everyone in this room, your friends, your colleagues, to join us at our table in the Innovation Pavilion, Table 10, to learn more about how we're wrapping up our current seed round today. Today, our seed round is $5.5 million. $3 million of that has been essentially circled and completed between strategics. The additional $2.5 million of that is outstanding. We've soft circled a chunk of it, but looking to complete that. And then we are on the precipice of opening up our Series A. Thank you very much.